Oh, there it is.
All right. Accepted. Whoops, where to go? Okay, folks, we'll probably start when William gives us the go-ahead on things. I think we're going to start to let folks in, and then we'll get going.
Great.
All right, we'll give it one more minute as people chime in. All right. Well, good people, it's 2023, actually January 2023, and you are here for the first ever coffee chats in the year 2023. So round of applause to everyone for joining us this morning. This is Economic Alliance Snohomish County's Coffee Chats, and today we get to focus on community engaged learning and research opportunities. As people continue to join, we just want to make sure you all are aware this goes from 8:30 to 9:30, and then we get you on with your day. I would like to state that I am Gary Clark, President and CEO of Economic Alliance Snohomish County, and I am very pleased to have a plethora of guests today that will provide us with an enormous insight on a particular program that is of use and of merit here. And so I'd like to just give a quick announcement. We have Dr. Stephen Jones, who is Associate Professor of Management at UW Bothell. He is an amazing professor. We've had the opportunity to partner and collaborate with Dr. Jones recently with one of his classes, and we really thank you, Dr. Jones, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, and next we have Layla Taylor, who is the CELR Program Manager for UW Bothell. Layla, thank you for joining us today. We have Trey Clasen, who is actually the owner of Ironwood Manufacturing Company. Trey, we are always excited to have business owners here, so thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
And last but not least, we have Mark Nielsen, who has a plethora of aliases on the Zoom we found. But Mark, thank you for joining us. Mark is the technology officer at Ironwood Manufacturing Company.
Thank you.
All right, folks, I just have a little snippet that they teach us to read in public school. So I need to go ahead and read this before we can get started. It's kind of our notes of preference. So opening remarks here are simply to highlight for all of our guests where we are and where we're going. I want to welcome everyone for today's Coffee Chats. It's an exciting opportunity for us to start 2023 off with some amazing information. And today, obviously, we are joined by two local experts to discuss community engaged learning research, and also known as CELR. At the University of Washington Bothell, we also have a participating student who participated in the actual CELR program. CELR courses are offered hands-on, reflective, skill-building opportunities for students to engage with the campus and the community projects, applying theory to practice and developing professional experience while also contributing to public good through a mutually beneficial exchange with the community partners. Now, this is the rich essence of being a practitioner and also understanding how to do the data and research in the project. And so we really are excited about this. Now, this also means that hearing from representatives from the business community to find out how that connection works. This involves businesses that are involved in the CELR program, how their businesses have benefited from the participation. Today, we will learn about the CELR program, how local organizations can get involved as well, because we know some of you businesses are wondering, how can I get involved into this? And then we also would hope that we can leave this session understanding what CELR means and how we can support organizations and programs. So without further ado, I give you all the great, the amazing Dr. Stephen Jones from UW Bothell. Please take it away.
Thank you, Gary. That is quite an introduction. I appreciate that. It is a delight to be with you this morning. I love the community engaged learning that we do at UW Bothell. I also want to mention, do one shout out here. We have Bradley Gilmore with us this morning. I invited Bradley also to attend. He is a student here at UW Bothell and in business. And he's also the president of our student club, Entrepreneurs of Bothell. Did I say that right? Yeah. And so interested in entrepreneurship and business. And so I asked him to also join us to give kind of a student perspective on what this means in community engaged learning. We have multiple faculty every week that we talk together about how we can connect more with businesses and not-for-profits throughout our region. And so what EASC is doing is terrific in helping us connect with you, because we want strong, vibrant connections with the business community and nonprofit community. Our students gain so much more. The learning is so much better when we're working with you on your projects, on your challenges and issues. And we want to provide that real value to you. And so I'm really glad to have Trey and Mark here, who we've worked together. Gary and I have worked together on projects in the past. So you can ask, when we get into Q&A, please feel free to ask us questions about what that experience is like. Bradley will talk a little bit about his experience, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Layla now to give you a little bit of the nuts and bolts, as her program office really is that kind of frontline connection for us of communicating with businesses, and helps shepherd you into connections with the right professors who can help you with the particular challenges or projects you're thinking of doing. So, Layla.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for having us. All of us together collectively actually make community engaged learning and research at UW Bothell happen. Thank you so much, Stephen, for all of your groundwork laying at EASC and relationship building, and Gary for having us, Bradley for being here, all of you this morning for listening in. I am the program manager of CELR at UW Bothell. So what that means is essentially what Stephen said, is that I am one of the main people at the UW Bothell campus that connects our faculty to community projects, both on campus and off campus. So that means that I'm kind of a bridge builder and a relationship builder. And I work with faculty across all 5 schools. So the School of Business has a very, very strong community engagement mission, but I also work with faculty in the School of STEM and the School of Educational Studies, Nursing and Health Studies, and interdisciplinary arts and sciences. So my job is to really be well connected across the UW Bothell community, student organizations, as well as faculty, so that I can better connect you with them, so that it aligns with your goals and your missions for your work. So I'm going to share my screen just to give you some visuals. And I have a small slideshow here. And if anyone can't see it, please let me know. But CELR, and on this slide, it's called community-based learning and research, but we have changed our name since then to community-engaged learning and research to better reflect what we really do. And we're a part of the Office of Connected Learning at UW Bothell, which also includes global initiatives, our makerspace on campus, which is also a very interesting place for probably some of you, our Environmental Education and Research Center at St. Edward's Park, and undergraduate research and creative projects, which often overlaps with community engaged learning and research. And as Gary so thoughtfully described, CELR is an opportunity for folks like you to engage with students and faculty in a mutually beneficial exchange that really helps students apply what they're learning in a real life setting, but also really contributes to some of the goals that you have for your businesses and furthers your capacity building and your projects in ways that you may not have even imagined yet, which is what's so exciting about what students really bring and faculty really bring. And our goals are always to kind of align what your goals are with what the learning is in each class that you connect with. And there's so many different ways to do that. It can look like an entire class working on data visualization or surveying your constituents for an e-marketing project. And it can also look like individual students working with you on a like an intern, like a mini internship for a quarter. So there are many different ways. Don't think that it's limited to one way of doing it. So you can get really creative with these types of CELR projects. I wanted to just kind of tell you this quick story about one of our students who also happens to be a student employee that I work with. And Yabsara Alma is a senior in the School of Business, and she took a CELR course called Electronic Marketing that partnered with a nonprofit called Oceana, which is a international ocean stewardship organization. So we can partner with so many different types of organizations, right? Nonprofits, schools, businesses, large and small, like Amazon and Boeing, to small local businesses and civic entities. So this particular class partnered with multiple partners, and the one student group that Yebsara was in worked with Oceana. And what they did was they ultimately surveyed some of the constituents of Oceana to create some of the digital marketing designs that you can see below that Oceana could potentially use in some of their digital marketing campaign. So I wanted to share that example with you. Very useful project for Oceana. This is not a complete list, but I wanted to highlight our 2021-22 CELR business partners, which you can find using this link. And I will share all the links with you when I'm done with my presentation. I don't do a very good job of balancing the two things at once. So when I'm done, I'll share this link with you so that you can actually see the full list of partners that CELR works with. You'll see that Ironwood is on there. And I also want to share this with you. This is a great way to submit a project to work with any School of Business faculty. We have a request for proposals that is ongoing with quarterly deadlines. And there's a link here and a QR code. And I will make sure that these slides also get shared with Gary and William, so that if they, can be shared out further, then you have these things. But if you were to hold your phone up to this QR code or click on the link when I send it to you, you'll see a little bit more of an in-depth explanation that also includes these types of examples of business CELR projects that you can submit. So this is not, it's just some different examples of CELR projects that students work on, everything from project management, finite projects that can be completed in 8 to 10 weeks, to marketing and communications challenges, operations and infrastructure and supply issues challenges, finance and accounting challenges. So there's this and more. And then I am not going to play this video, but we do have some really fantastic videos illustrating also some great business project management classes and other types of CELR classes that you can watch to learn a little bit more. And finally, oh, yeah, here we go. I wanted to share my contact info with you, and I will also drop that in the chat. You can learn more about our program, our CELR program at the website here, and also kind of view our list of current and past courses to kind of get an idea. And while the RFP link is a perfect way to submit your projects, one of the best ways to get to know CELR and UW Bothell is really to just meet with me. I'm available. That's what I do every week is I meet with different folks and share more, try to inform you, learn about you, and come up with creative ways that we can partner with you on our campus. So I think that about wraps up my presentation so that I don't go over. Hopefully I've been pretty good staying on time. So I'll stop sharing and drop links in the chat.
Thank you, Layla. I believe that was awesome. Give us some insight and detail into the program. Now I think we have our business owner in the oak here, which is Trey. Trey, you're going to speak a little bit about Ironwood Manufacturing Company and your connection to the program.
Yeah, thank you. So Ironwood was, we've been around since 1972. We build the thing that everybody needs, but nobody knows about. Nobody knows where they come from. We build toilet partitions. And people oftentimes go, what in the world is a toilet partition? And it's the thing you go into a public commercial restroom, say, hey, I got to use the bathroom. They send you into a room. We're the ones that you write your name on or carve poems into the wall. That's our product. Is what you're carving on is our product. I'm going to share a screen because the next part is tell me what you're seeing right now. You seeing a toilet stall?
Yeah.
All right, so this is not what we build. This is what we used to build. About 10 years ago, we switched and started making things, not this, but these. And so we went to basically a high end. The toilet partition industry is a very mature industry. There was no new players in it, or very few new players in it. Nobody was doing anything inventive, and we decided to become inventive. In so doing, we're unique almost in the world in what we do. It's starting to catch on. We have some people copying us and doing some things now. Socially, the world is looking for more private toilet stalls, which we kind of started that also with a few innovations. But long and short is, in entering a new space, we didn't have examples of who to follow. And so when we met Dr. Jones and talked with him, and he told us about the program at UW, we said, well, here is an opportunity for us to maybe either validate some of our own ideas or get some new ideas on things that we could do. And so we partnered with them. And from there, history is still being made. That's pretty much what we've done as far as an intro.
That's outstanding. I think first and foremost, I have never written on a partition ever in my life. I want to tell you, not admit to that.
That's what they all say.
Did you want to share any additional thoughts on this, Trey, before we move on?
No, I'm good. We're just a humble little toilet stall place in Arlington and trying to change the world one stall at a time.
All right. Thank
We'll
you.
get into some details in the question and answer period on some of the ways that the program helped us. So.
Thank you, Mark. I believe we have Bradley next, Dr. Jones, to join in, and I think we'll unshare Trey's screen here, and then we'll go right to Bradley. Bradley, thank you again. This is going to be some insight that many of us would love to hear, so I'm going to zip it and pass it on to you.
Thank you very much. So I'm a senior at UWB as a business major in the leadership and strategic innovation option. And so this last quarter, I actually took 2 classes that partnered me and my teams with a local organization. I worked with WOBS, which was the Washington Alliance for Better Schools nonprofit. And I worked for them in a project management role, basically to restructure how they were using a specific project management software to set a framework which would allow them to better grow and scale the organization because they were having a specific problem. And that was just what we came in to do. And we also worked with Carethos, which was a services marketplace tech startup, as product developers. And so we developed the MVP, minimum viable product working model of their application. And we also developed a pitch deck and did the market research to validate the market and to help them obtain funding for the next steps and for everything that we couldn't develop for them in that short quarter. The benefits for this I believe, were pretty obvious for both sides. I mean, as students, we were given unique insights into these very different organizations and their internal operations and different cultures and the way that they were working. We were able to not just learn about these concepts that were being taught to us in the classroom, but then go out and actually develop these relationships with our customer and apply these concepts and apply our team contracts and all these tools that were kind of, thrown at us for us to absorb. And you really can't absorb it as a student unless you're utilizing it. And not all students have that opportunity to go out and do, internship all the time when they're in college. Maybe they have a different job or they have other responsibilities. And so having this opportunity in the classroom is incredible. And being able to just use these skills and tools that we've been taught in a real environment and real stakes with the opportunity to make an actual difference and to create value and make an impact with these organizations was the biggest motivator for both of my teams, just to do our best and do everything that we can to really make sure that we're delivering value to them at the end of the day. And the best thing is that it's not just what we're delivering, we get the value as well. And it's not just that experience and that practical experience that we really do need so that we know what we're going into coming out of college, but also it's perfect because now we have real professional examples and a demonstration of the work that we can do for future interviews and to get us an internship or a job after college. And you don't really get that same experience with like a project closeout. Especially for that project management class, I had no idea all the detail and organization and all the recording and everything that a project manager does until we got there. And I was like, whoa, this wasn't just my professor being nitpicky and saying, you have to just record all of these things and make sure you're on it. No, we needed it because at the end of this project, whether it's a class or it's working on a real project for a business, you need all of that so you can tell a story of what you've done and how you've been doing your work and what you've actually achieved. I had one of my professors go, oh my goodness, like I was actually really concerned for your team because I wasn't completely clear on what you were delivering until I read your project closeout. because that explained everything and all the steps and how you guys reached what you were delivering to WOBS. And so that was really gratifying to me, that what we are doing really did make a difference. And so in that last quarter, in those two classes, I've never had, and my team, I don't think has ever had as much an incentive to learn, to succeed, than in my time working on both of those projects. And I think on the business side, for both WOBS and Carethos, it's not just what we were outlined and what we agreed that we were going to deliver to them, but also they developed more ties with us. They developed more ties with our professors and with the University of Washington Bothell. And they had a chance to work with us. They had a chance to see what our culture fit might be like, what we're capable of, and who we really are and how we work with each other. And so what that gives them is kind of a sense of, what can they expect from grads coming out of University of Washington Bothell? What can we ask of them? What should we expect from them? And not just that in general, but we work so closely with our point of contacts in both of these projects that there are people in my team that have had, like we've had offers to come in and work with them because of the great work that we did. And so I think that's amazing, because you don't get to see that culture fit. You can't always get that right vibe check when you're doing an interview with a potential student or with a potential employee for an internship or job. And that culture fit is the most important thing. And so you can see who that person is. Can we train them? Can we work with them? Do they listen to what we're saying? Can they take that and then deliver what we want? And I think that that's just an incredible basis from which to grow, and that you already have that sort of solid foundation for a relationship that you can build on if you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Bradley. That was amazing. I do have one follow-up question for you. What is your goal and plan for your career following your education at UW Bothell?
For me, I'm tailoring my degree for program management. And so what I'm looking to do is either have one of my own startups funded that I'm working on right now. And those are actually, which is wonderful about UW, is this quarter I'm able to take 2 classes that are going to allow me to develop my business models and find out if I do have viable businesses going forward that can be funded, that can be something that I can just build coming right out of college. And even if not, then I'm tailoring my degree towards program management, and I'm going to be looking for the right organization to help me develop the skills that I need to be able to do whatever I want to next. So I'm just continuing to try to build and expand my opportunities.
Well, that's outstanding. I appreciate you sharing your insight and experience, and also your journey. Dr. Jones, did you want to add anything before we go into Q&A?
No, this is great. I'd love to hear questions from the audience.
All right, well, folks, you heard it from Dr. Jones. If you have specific questions, please throw them in the chat, and we'll try to get those to you. I can start off with just one specific question for the panelists here, and don't be shy or bashful. Can you highlight some of the success stories from the CELR program? And so I'm going to leave that open-ended for obviously Layla and Dr. Jones to highlight.
Stephen, I would love to hear some of your favorite success stories. And
with these, let me tell you about a man named Sujit. He owns a medical device firm. He's been in the industry and some of the big players in the past, and then after 20 years decided to go on his own and established Patson Healthcare. When I first met him 3 years ago, he had just launched his first video laryngoscope. That's what the anesthesiologists use to, once they've got you out, they put it down your throat to let you breathe, right? So to be able to set the tube. And so he had this new device which got better that improve patient care and the quality of the procedure. But he is a small player in a very big pond with very big players. And so the first year that I met him, we had my students working with him, and they did a kind of a market analysis and found out which area of the market, big hospitals, small EMT type of places, where he should position his time first to try and get entry into the market. He took that advice and had great success with it. Came back next year and said, can we do another one? So next year, with a different set of students, we started looking at, okay, what is your growth trajectory, and how do you want to maybe potentially go public with this, kind of looking over that time. And so that group of students did an analysis and figured out what his options were and potential for that. One of those students happened to be also a doctor that was going through that. This is at the master's level. And those two have continued to collaborate together in creating NIH grants for work that they're doing together. And then he came back a third year. And so this last year we worked again, and this time it was China and the difficulties of getting his items manufactured in China. So the team worked with him on looking at a Western strategy, particularly a Mexican strategy for sourcing manufacturing. And the team went through and did all of the analysis and actually found him 2 viable manufacturers here and kind of in the US and Mexico for that. So it's just been great to see and watch his company grow and work with him time and again on just whatever the challenge was.
I'd love to say that is a great example, because I think what that also shows, Stephen, is that, there are real opportunities here to go from, while our quarter system at the UW can sometimes feel limiting, there's actual, because it's a short quarter, right? Let's be real, 10 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks of working with students and faculty, you can build on projects. I have a story. It's an older story from multiple years ago. And yet I just still think it's a one-time story that had a really large impact, but it wasn't a one-time partnership. This was a long-standing partnership of UW Bothell, who had worked with multiple classes. And much like WOBS, who worked with you, Bradley, and in your project management class, have worked with education students. This organization, Domestic Violence Services of Snohomish County, which provides shelter and transition resources to families in need who have experienced domestic violence. They were looking to open a new space. They had their eyes on a particular location, a particular building, but when they worked with project management students, what they asked those students to do was kind of a needs assessment survey and some research into that particular location, who the population is, demographics, what the cost of living was, et cetera. And so they were also the students were able to deliver this research in a written report, as well as a final presentation slideshow. This needs assessment survey was part of that. And the organization was able to secure a $300,000 capital projects grant as a direct result of the students' writing and reporting and research. So that's another example of how, sometimes, our smaller businesses, our smaller nonprofits, they lack the capacity and students and faculty can really support where there's a capacity need. So I love to share that story because it was, you know, at only a few months down the road had that grant come in. And then, you know, we were able to attend the opening eventually at the new space, and students who had worked on the research were there celebrating. So, you know, community was also built. I just have to, one more thing, shout out Bradley. I think you should be a spokesperson for community engaged learning and research, because everything that Bradley said, I couldn't have said it better, because from the student experience, I feel like you captured everything and more that I've heard from other students, like in like the perfect soundbite. So folks, listen to Bradley.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all for those comments on the success stories. I wanted to throw this to Trey and Mark just to highlight maybe telling us how did you become involved in the CELR program and what motivated you to participate?
I think the main connection happened through Trey. So maybe Trey, you could cover how we got involved with this.
Well, the story behind getting involved in this was, I think, going out and doing a service project. And one of the owners, who I happened to be married to, was traveling with Dr. Jones. And he inquired about what we did for in our non-service hours. And she brought up that we own this little company up in Arlington. And from there, that was the connection that got us started. He said, hey, well, I do this. If you're interested, why don't you just ping me and let's talk a little bit. So that was the genesis.
So Mark and Trey, how has the program benefited your organization?
I think first of all, was a pleasure to work with Dr. Jones and the students. We had two groups of students who worked with us on different aspects of our business, and it was tremendous. Just a very enjoyable experience. But I think, you know, in the end, they presented, and as we went, we had a lot of good discussions, but in the end, we got their final list of suggestions, and it was very well presented. And I'll just say that there was a laundry list of things that they covered with us, including creating better distribution networks, load leveling our manufacturing, investigating trends. And our business, you could see from the materials we make, designers have, like everyone, they have sort of seasons and trends that this year white is great and next year mauve is great. And they encouraged us to sort of look into that and see if we could get in the leading edge of trends, which has been something we spent a little more time on. There were some great suggestions on early engagement. We changed our marketing approach a little bit to facilitate that and have significantly increased early engagement. And that has resulted directly in increased sales. And so we've been very pleased with that. They also emphasize sometimes from the inside, you don't see some things that you have that you don't realize you have. We have it's kind of a bad word. We have a monopoly position on certain products. We build compact laminate or phenolic toilet partitions with louvered doors and moldings. It's just something, frankly, nobody in the world does but us. And they pointed out ways that we really ought to take advantage of that position while we have it. And so there were some great suggestions along those lines. And I will say that, you know, just rubbing shoulders with Dr. Jones also provided us some great opportunities. He's a professor at heart, and he gave us a book we should study, and we have been studying it and very pleased with the things that it's been teaching us. So all in all, we just had a good variety. Some of the things were sort of just reinforcing because we do know our business. And so there was just, yep, this is what we thought we should do. And they confirmed it. But there also were some good new angles on our business that we very much appreciate.
Thank you. I guess I'll do one more follow-up on that. And I think part of this question is to Trey and Mark, and part of it is also to maybe Layla and Dr. Jones. Just asking, based on your experience that you described, Mark and Trey, what advice would you give to others considering participation, other businesses? And then on the latter portion of that, maybe Layla and Dr. Jones, you can highlight how others can support the program.
So from our point of view, the thing that we probably stutter stepped at the beginning is we weren't super defined in what we wanted to solve. We're kind of we're blazing new territory in our industry. And so we felt like everything was a problem we had, and any advice would have been helpful. So I think if we had spent a bit more time focusing and drilling in and saying, this is what we need to focus on and work on, and defined that better up front, it would have been easier on the students. They struggled a little bit trying to figure out what to deliver also.
It's important to realize that they're on such a compressed time schedule, and we've got years and years in our business, and we're trying to get them to a point where they understand it well enough to give us useful input. And so, as Trey said, focus is really important, to not be too broad in the list of issues that you hope to address.
Thank you both. Dr. Jones?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple ideas just from my experience of what helps make these projects successful. What I often say to business owners, give me the number 3 project on your mental list of things you're working through, because number 1 is urgent and important, and we can't do urgent projects just because we're constrained by the timeline of, we have students from this date to that date and it's a 10-week window. But we want to work on important projects, so the ones that's like, I can't get to it but I really need to, because it can really impact my business. We want projects that are meaningful to you, because students have like the 6th sense to know whether or not this is important for the business. They just know it. And if they get a sense that this is actually really important for the business, the motivation for them is just that much more, and the learning is so much better. So we want projects that are important for you, but they just can't be urgent because we can't fit within that timeline of urgency. And then the other thing is that there needs to be someone that can be available for students during that period of time. So there needs to be some kind of champion, whether it's you or an employee, someone who's kind of oversees it, that can be available for questions and answering those questions, and just during the project period of time. Generally, we try hard to make sure it's not burdensome, as far as we coach students on how to write a good email, how not to pester people, those types of things, just so that they're professional in it. But having that availability means that they'll be able to deliver that much better of a project outcome. And the last thing I would say is the students. I've lost my train of thought now. I had one more thought to put out there. It will come to me. The value that the students can offer is really quite remarkable, and our role as professors is really to help maintain that quality and to help kind of guide them through that process, to make sure that they're kind of delivering towards those targets at the end. So we have kind of we kind of act as that quality check as we go along through those projects. So
thank you, Dr. Jones. Layla, did you want to add to any of that, or?
I think that sums it up quite nicely, but what I would love to encourage those of you who are here who might feel like, well, I don't have any projects that are important enough, or that aren't, and I don't have time for this, or, to just kind of give it a try, because it is essentially like a 10-week commitment. And the other thing is, I do want to just kind of underline or emphasize what Stephen was talking about the perspectives that students bring. Bradley was saying this too, because you bring very current, relevant perspectives, and sixth sense to oftentimes what folks, our partners need. And I hear that over and over again from partners, that they are just so blown away and needed that fresh take, right? So I really encourage you to just to give it a try. Reach out, even we can have conversations and explore ideas. And if you decide that it's not the right fit for you, that's fine too. You might decide, okay, I'm not ready to do this in spring or summer, but maybe next year. And we could just get the conversation started. So
Thank you.
yeah, I do see a question. Do you want me to read it, Gary?
Well, I'll
Or-
jump in because I want to make sure we sandwich our amount of time here appropriately. So what I'm going to do is, number one, I'm going to ask Trey and Mark. You are operating out of the amazing city of Arlington. I'd like to hear a little bit about how your work and in collaboration with UW Bothell and the program, the CELR program, how that's benefiting the overall community in Arlington, in your opinion. And then Bradley, if you could just highlight specifically your feeling on the same question. How does the program benefit the overall health of the community? And then last but not least, Layla, I guess that question that's in the chat, which is basically asking, do the students look for internships, or are they looking for grad work beyond or jobs? And so if you and Dr. Jones could answer that. So sandwich that all in. So Trey and Mark Arlington, you have the floor.
I will start out by just saying that we, like many companies, we're very interested in having happy employees who feel like the quality of their life is good. And one of the things that all of us appreciate in this area is that commutes are not fun. And so I think an easy advantage that this brings to the city of Arlington is, to the extent that this is increasing our business, we've had to hire more. And we look for people, and now we will hire anyone, but almost everyone who comes to apply lives within a 10-15 mile radius because they know they don't want to be in the commute. And so it has increased our business, and we just think and certainly most of the people we've hired, again, we've had applicants from all over, but tend to be local people. And so more local people are working with us as a result of that effort.
A few other things that I might highlight. We're now engaged with the high school and looking at some of their classes and programs and working with them and bringing students in to tour the company and see what we do and how we do it, and just get them started in their progress in their professional lives. We also are engaging with the city in different ways, both in planning, because quite honest, Arlington's got a traffic mess and they know it and they've got a plan, but we're hoping to have our voice in on it a little bit and see if we can help there. And then just the Arlington business community, we've been interacting with other businesses, looking at vendors closer to our new location, which is we've just moved into Arlington about a year, maybe a little over a year now. So all of those things I think are how we feel like we're giving back to the community.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bradley?
Yeah, so I feel like the way that this contributes to the community is most obvious when I'm looking at what we did for the Washington Alliance for Better Schools, because they are a growing organization that's very in demand, and they're helping all of these students and just facilitate their success and providing them with the resources that they need to succeed at the next step and the next level, and get them employed, get them to their next to their college degree, or to a grant, or to a learning opportunity and a program that they're providing. And so when we're going in there and we're helping them solve a problem that's allowing them to do their job better and scale better and communicate and organize more, or communicate more effectively, organize more efficiently, and just be able to keep growing and do that in a sustainable way, we're facilitating their ability to help so many more people, that's just the most direct impact that I can see. And just knowing that we were doing that and knowing their purpose and their mission from their organization, that was a really great incentive.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for those comments. Dr. Jones, Layla, on the question at hand in the chat.
Yeah, some students are looking for interns. I think Bradley said it well about, in a way, it's kind of some of these projects are realistic job previews of what would it be like to work with this organization, and for the leaders, what kind of are these the type of interns or employees I'd like to bring on. So that we always hope that that's the case, that those opportunities come up, and there's usually at least a few students looking that way.
Yep, I also mentioned that in the chat, that especially in their senior year, students are looking for internship opportunities. And there are countless stories that I have of students going on to actually intern or volunteer for their CELR partners, and participating in a project participating in a CELR project for both partners and students is a great way to get to know each other, and kind of preview your potential workforce. Something else that I think is really important to mention here is that UW Bothell has one of the most culturally rich and racially rich demographic student populations. And so I actually do believe, and I've heard from our career services, that we are contributing to diversifying the workforce as well. There are, I'll put a link to our fast facts and demographics so that you can actually see the breakdown of the demographics of the student population at UW Bothell. But it is one of the more diverse student populations especially in the Snohomish County area. I mean, you can look at a lot of the community colleges as well. So if you're really looking at kind of really developing your own cultural humility, really diversifying your workforce, then you might want to really think about how you can partner with UW Bothell and students there.
Awesome. I guess that throws me to a question I was going to ask to you, Dr. Jones and Layla, specifically to the CELR program benefiting the university itself, the community, and your research and teaching. Can you speak to how that has benefited your work?
Yeah, there are opportunities sometimes too, where these connections can create opportunities for research. So I'm a research active scholar. There are others that do research. So sometimes if there are different types of challenges that are also interesting from a research angle, those can crop up and potential there. I think on the aggregate, as we look at what CELR, their office does, and what the faculty do here, the more connections we have, the more value we're able to create, because UW Bothell acts as kind of this knowledge hub and this kind of intelligence bank, where as we create more and more connections, we can help you connect in with the right individuals and the right organizations, as you know, not just us, but also can help make other connections as well. So this work we see as important for just creating UW Bothell as this important hub in our region.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Layla, did you want to add any to that?
Can you restate the question? I was a little busy working on fast facts there. Sorry.
Yeah, just highlighting the benefits to the university, the community, and or your research or teaching from the CELR program.
Well, I'd have to say that it's our faculty, really. I really do think of our office, especially the Office of Connected Learning, as kind of like a hub for kind of experiential learning on campus that is community engaged. But honestly, we have faculty across the whole campus that are doing this community engaged research work that I don't even know about. And so there's just really a rich, one of our strategic pillars at UW Bothell as well is campus and community engagement, as well as, you know, equity and cross-disciplinary learning. So it is a strong core tenet of what UW Bothell's mission and strategic priorities are. So I feel like CELR is kind of one of the ways that that faculty and students and our Office of Connected Learning is really kind of broadening our students' reach in the community, but also supporting and building and deepening the goals for campus and community engagement as a campus.
Thank you. And last remarks, I'm going to give it to Trey and Mark. Just any final words or thoughts to the audience here today.
I actually was listening to our UW representatives, it dawned on me that, like any good business, you have to listen to your customers and deliver to them what they need. And it seems to me like the University of Washington Bothell is listening to their customers, businesses, and having their products, their students interact, and then delivering a high quality product in a timely manner. What more could you ask for? I think it's mutually beneficial to everybody. It's a synergistic thing.
Outstanding. I love it, Trey. I appreciate those comments. Mark, did you have anything to add to that?
No, that was great. And thank you, everyone. We've enjoyed the projects.
Thank you all. That was outstanding. I want to make sure that you all know that this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg for us. I think this is how we need to continue to communicate and bridge those relationships. And so first and foremost, I want to thank our amazing panelists, Bradley as well, who has been an amazing, insightful representative of the student community. I want to thank you for doing that as well. I want to thank our business owners and leaders, and Trey and Mark, and providing us with some insight from the Ironwood Manufacturing Company in the city of Arlington. And so really excited about what you all have developed here through the Community Engaged Learning Research Program at the University of Washington Bothell. And I believe that there is more connection points to make here. So we really hope that we have built a better understanding of the opportunities and benefits available through the CELR program for our audience, and how it can support your organization and community. And for those of you who have registered for today's installation of the coffee chats via Eventbrite, check your inbox later today and you'll find a list of references from the discussion, as well as a link of the recording, and you have the opportunity to rewatch that or share it. And it's also on the Economic Alliance Snohomish County's Facebook page, as it was live streamed there, so you can share it. Again, Dr. Jones, you've been amazing. Layla, you've been outstanding. Trey, I'm excited to maybe take a stop and visit at your new location in Arlington. And Mark, I know you'll have some insight to bring some EASC staff there as well. And Bradley, looking forward to hearing more from you in the creative space of entrepreneurship or project management. I really think you're going to do an amazing job. It sounds like you already know what it takes. And so we thank you. We thank the CELR program as well. Now, this is where they asked me to do our commercial. So I want to thank you all for joining us. What we have coming up as we share a screen is And please don't go away, panelists, because we do our final piece, but we would like to invite our viewers to join us for a 2023 legislative kickoff taking place this Thursday, January 25th, let me say that again, January 5th on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's going to actually be on site at Hotel Indigo, which is in the Everett waterfront area. If you've ever been to the Port of Everett, you know where I'm talking about. This event will feature our elected officials answering questions about 2023 and its legislative agenda. By sharing our ideas with the legislators, we can better advocate for our businesses, communities here in Snohomish County, and work together to drive solutions to challenges we face. We hope you'll join us and help advocate for policies that stimulate economic vitality, quality of life in Snohomish County, and as you've heard, connection between our universities, businesses, and students for a better workspace and workforce. So with that being said, this will also have an Eventbrite portal for you all. Again, January 5th, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Hotel Indigo, Everett. Be there, be square. Folks, what I like to do is also highlight the next coming coffee chat installation, which is increasing access to childcare with federal pandemic recovery dollars. So cash money for our children, right? That is the goal, is to make sure that we are creating those connection points through relief funds in that space. And that will be January 17th from 8:30 a.m. To 9:30 a.m. And last but not least, what we're all here for and what we get to share with Bradley is, if you have a coffee cup, if you have, like I have, which is a Martinelli's apple juice, they're not sponsoring us, but maybe they should. Everyone raise your coffee cups, water, and let's bring in 2023 with a great, great, great day today. So thank you all, UW Bothell. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Trey and Mark. Have an amazing day, folks. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, so much.